Us now is Congressman Adam Schiff, ranking member of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Congressman Schiff, you commented on this today, issued a public statement about it, and your reaction to General Flynn and that inability, it seems, to separate fact from fiction.
Well, it's terrifying, really, and it permeates the incoming administration. I mean, it comes from the top down. This is someone in the president-elect who helped propagate the whole birther myth. And as recently as last week sent out a tweet saying that millions of undocumented immigrants had voted. And of course, he now has picked a national security advisor, says that fear of all Muslims is rational, and who also helped propagate this conspiracy theory involving Secretary Clinton and child sex trafficking. So this is really quite a terrifying prospect, because what the president-elect doesn't seem to realize is there are going to be times where the country really needs to believe its president. And if he is willing to propound these fake news stories, if he's willing to make blatantly false statements like millions of illegal immigrants voting, then when the country really needs to believe something he asserts, it's very likely that a significant number, if not the vast majority of Americans, simply won't. And the same goes for our allies, and the same goes for our adversaries. So I've been hoping that he would grow into the job. I've been hoping that he would make the transition to being a president. But these events don't show that he is growing with the responsibilities, and that's quite a frightening prospect.
Congressman Schiff, knowing the work that the National Security Advisor is charged with, and the intimacy of that position to the presidency in all national security matters, that ability to sift through intelligence, to be trying to find what's the best information we have, this is something that has challenged the best teams in the White House over time. And some of the best teams have gotten certain things wrong at certain times. But what you could, in most cases, what you wouldn't doubt is that they were attempting always, with the best methods, to find the best information.
Well, you would certainly hope so, and there's profound reason for concern, as recently as the last few weeks, when there was abundant evidence, and in fact the Director of National Intelligence spoke to Russian involvement in hacking our elections, and you had the president-elect and the nominee for National Security Advisor essentially carrying Russian water and saying, we don't know that it's it could be the Chinese, it could be a 400-pound person. If they're willing to ignore what the best intelligence tells us when it doesn't suit their interests, then they're going to be willing to ignore it under other circumstances. So that is very concerning. One other part of that job, which is equally important, is bringing together disparate voices within the administration, the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of State, the National Security Council, and others, the Secretary of Homeland Security, when there are really tough calls to be made, and forging a consensus. And that requires somebody who is thoughtful, someone who is a bedrock of stability. And regrettably, that was not General Flynn's reputation when he ran the Defense Intelligence Agency. So there are, I think, some very serious concerns. But chief among them is, if we can't even agree that the facts should guide our decision-making, we've got a real problem on our hands.